So go on these hikes to try to get some mental clarity. Well, for a while, that's where I really started focusing on those mantras that Heather introduced to me, gave me the breadcrumbs, lead me to those. So I just listen to these mantras and affirmations while walking around. Give me a chance to hit the bong or to eat an edible, have nothing distracting me, so I could just have myself and my thoughts or some wildlife and shit. Carry a big sticks. So the introspective that I have had today is about a pressure cooker, and started thinking about this on Mother's Day when I had family over. My mom's cousin, they used to spend summers together. And it's like, your mom used to drive your knuckles into my shoulder, and it was like a game. It was not a game. She was always instigator. She's like, I don't understand why she was always her nipples into me. And I stopped her both. I'm like, holy shit. Well, your mom, you asked me why I'm so angry all the time. And I never really understood it. Now I understand it. I'm going to call you Knuckles. I'm never going to doubt that any of this anger that I have, where it came from, it's just been suppressed. So all the suppression is like a pressure cooker. This pressure cooker is something that you need systems in place for. I never understood why I was so angry until I started listening to more of the hypnotherapy stuff. And it like brought back these crazy ass memories of shit. And things that you would never want to share with anybody, but you live with those thoughts, in the fucking prison, negative thoughts, negative situations pop into your head. I had these situations pop into my head where I had older brothers. The older brothers would have friends over, 3 years older, and we all had anger. So I just became the punching bag and try to keep myself and survive. From the time I shared a bunk bed with him when I was probably like 6 or something. Crazy, right? So I just figured this out like September of 2021. And then I also figured out that I've lived with that anger inside of me for such a long time that I've been a pressure cooker and probably affected health. But I want to relate this back to something that makes sense to me. And that's my ability to tell a story and to be effective on putting the right amount of pressure on the right person to get them motivated to do what I want them to do. Because I live under pressure. I know how much it takes to make me crack, and I'm uncrackable. And I know what my limits are, and my limits are far, far beyond what most people can tolerate. And so I dig into their soul using 20 plus years of internet marketing data, crafting email marketing campaigns, pay-per-click campaigns for raunchy ass industries. You want to see who somebody really is? Try doing SEO or building ads for like adult friend finder, Tinder, but then raunchy ones, whatever you want type of hookup is in your neighborhood. And I got to extract search history for that so I can better understand how many people are searching for, I don't know, I have no idea. Whatever you want, really. If there's a whole network of whatever you want in your town available for a hookup for free, just pay your monthly services. And the human desire, primal desire to fuck, primal desire to make, always overruled no matter what. And that's what I figured out with looking at what people search for and the type of shit that people really are. And so when then I can look at that with SEO data, kind of get some idea of like, hey, this person who likes searching for getting punched in the penis 25 times also shares the characteristics of these people. So I can extrapolate the information, put it into my brain, let my processor remind myself of all the marketing campaigns, email marketing campaigns, whatever it was, writing the ads allowed me to remember, because I have this visual based memory. And I realized that the past few years that I just remember things based on where they're placed, situations, more than anything else. So as an internet marketer since 2003, it's an entire visual based process system. So it really made my brain satisfied. So I remember most of it. Honestly, like, I could probably remember every marketing campaign that I've ever touched if it was put in front of me. I saw like the creative or something for an email marketing campaign, and I was in charge of the subject lines or any of that stuff. I could remember the targeting, who the account manager was, if they were a pain in my fucking ass or not. Like most of the So when I meet somebody in person now, post COVID, knowing that the internet has had 50% increase in traffic worldwide, the data set is now bigger than what it used to be. There in turn, it's more relevant because you have a bigger sample size now. So if you got a bigger sample size, and I can remember that those who like getting punched in the dick also like Abercrombie and Fitch or something, then I can take other common characteristics of that subset of data and then marry it with that data, which I've been doing for a long time. So now I can do it in person. And I know how much pressure to apply to someone based on my very first engagement with them on how they appear in person and what they're wearing, what their hair is done, if they wear makeup, casual, fit, whatever. I remember all of those personas. And so I can help resolve their problems because I know their pain points because I marketed to them. And so I just, for whatever reason, my brain allows me to jog that shit and then vomit it out. It's unique. It's one of one. Can't fucking tell you what I said 30 seconds ago. Thank God for recording. By the way, this is my first recording. I'm just trying something new because goddamn fucking man. Anyway, back to the pressure cooker. So I'm putting myself in this pressure cooker. I've never exploded all that. Oh, maybe a few times, but never to the point where I harmed anybody. You know, I popped some holes in walls when I was a kid. I don't know how many. Like, I would say over 10, maybe 20. I don't know. Whatever. But that's not my system now because I realized that I have that pressure cooker type anger inside of me and I'm strong. So I can just, if I relieve a little bit of that pressure while my hand is around somebody's arm or their hand or anything like that, like, that's just not good. So I do everything in my power to tame that through these type of things, types, clarity, hypnotherapy, mantras, talking when there's no one to talk to, listening to people who are willing to keep it real. So I could do it in real life, can craft a marketing campaign in the digital life and in real life. My wife and I owned retail stores, bought billboards, crafted marketing campaigns. I ran my advertising agency out of the back of an emerging retail store chain in Orlando before we bailed on it after 2 years and a lot of money lost, but great lessons learned, lessons applied to everything. So I look at it as a very, very expensive education. You got a question about retail? I paid a very expensive master's degree, a 2-year accelerated program with 850 employees, expecting them to do at least like $12 an hour worth of work. But yeah, I learned a lot, which is why I don't have any employees anymore. I replaced them all with robots for real. Cause all a robot is really is a automation, and all that an automation is just a script. And all of the script is just a small little, tiny little program that tells the robot to execute some sort of command. So I just taught myself how to do it within Google Sheets during the pandemic because our daughter was in a school and she was shut down and everything just kind of upended. And so, as everybody remembers, it just kind of flip-flopped for me, for you, for everybody that you knew. So everybody became a stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home husband, stay-at-home wife, educator, chef, you name it. And it was stressful for Heather and me because our daughter was doing so well. So we both committed to just diving head on in. And I said, you know what? Let me help. And I'll figure some way out to give myself some more time so I could keep some steady revenue coming in. And so I took my love of content, writing in particular, and I took my 20-year knowledge of internet marketing, crafting campaigns, remembering personas, all that stuff. And I built it into Google Sheets. And so I was able to create this thing that I called a permutator. I would take my unique combinations of SEO relevant text and find a way for it to give me some usable alt text, keyword, file name drivers so that I at least had a starting point. A lot of times in digital marketing, it's spent doing the prep work of the reporting and the formatting and getting things programmed that way, formatted properly. Very little time executing. Same thing, by the way, with fucking painting all the time with the prep. And painting's the fun part. It only takes like 30 minutes. That's the same thing, marketing. Marketing like that. So it saved me that time for a lot of my busy work because every time I hired someone to help me with that part of the work, they just didn't really execute the way that I wanted to put my name on it. I'm really big about reputation because business is shady. I'd rather be transparent. You know, that's why I'm a big proponent for blockchain. I like the transparency of it, but business is not like that, unfortunately. So I use this system, save me some time, get me started, probably save me like legitimately like 10 hours a week. And I took that extra time to help wherever I could with our daughter, teaching, cooking, and just really doing my very best to just be a team member and know that this was going to be for a while. It's definitely going to break people. So I could take all that direct response copywriting, SEO, copywriting. I could take my ability to storytell. I learned how to storytell from my older brother. He taught me how to write by 15, 16. And I just really fell in love with writing and took it from there. And I always preferred to communicate with everybody non-verbally through email or text because I was so aware of the persona that I was talking to that I could craft the proper messaging. It didn't matter who it was for. Friend, business, foe. I know which ones because I know which button it is to push and which knob to turn, which lever to crank, and which one you could really squeeze if you need to. And there are very few people that understand that. So I've honed in my pressure and I've used it as a tool, and I use writing as an outlet because everything from reputation management to pay-per-click ads for dirty ass sites, cannabis companies, product packaging, product labeling, market, whatever, all that stuff allows me to just to put the right pressure in order to get people to bend. And so the lesson here is anybody who's angry, and you're a pressure cooker too, as long as you figured out ways to relieve the pressure, whether it's an equivalent of a hike for me, whatever the fuck that is for you. I got to smoke some weed to get some perspective and go walk amongst nature to clear my head. As long as you're keeping it and you're working through it and it's not leaking out into your life. If it is leaking out into your life, take a step back and try to figure out, number one, what was that moment that you remember you were first really angry in your life? Or the inverse of it, when was the last time, the last memory you have of when you were happy or that you had a different personality? Either one of those, if you could remember what it is that made you so mad and you can think about it right away, great. As long as you're not breaking shit and you aren't hurting people physically, emotionally, not manipulating people to do things, using it to commit crime or anything like that, and bully or anything like that. All unacceptable. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do anyways. If that makes sense to you, whoever ultimately hears this, but then you got to find a way to pinpoint what that thing is and just come to terms with it. Whatever it was. Like, what? Why hold on? It's destructive to hold on. So if you can just understand that whatever it was that made you so angry, that's turned you into a pressure cooker, whatever that situation was, it already happened. The worst has already happened. It's done. It's over with. And now it's about recovery. Today, tomorrow, and in the future, physical strength is definitely important. Mental strength coupled with physical strength will rule for the next millennia for sure. You got to shut out the noise to exist in a world that's so noisy. Find a way to relieve it. Find a way to utilize it, recirculate it, and put it back into the world in a positive way. Because that's what I'm doing. And that's what we got to do to survive. Don't be a pressure cooker. Be a good person. Later.